No, so I don't do studies, but I do use reference, and I am a big, huge, mega supporter of using reference. For this one, I used a reference photo of a taxidermy bear, and I can tell you that my painting looks almost nothing like the reference, because that's not what reference is for.
So now that you brought that up, I just want to hear from another fellow artist. What is your difference between referencing and copying?
Yeah, totally. Big difference. I think that there's implications with both. Like, for example, with copying, I think tracing. So, if what you're doing is, and I see a lot of artists do this and I don't like it, but if you are going to take a photo that someone else took, even, like, it's one thing if you're just straight up one-to-one copying another person's artwork. That's pretty obviously copying and crappy, like, that's just not, I don't know. I mean, unless you're not going to ever show it to anyone and this is a study and you're, doing this and then moving away from it. But that is rarely the case when people one-to-one copy other people's art. But yeah, so, tracing things I think is a problem. So, like, let's say there is a photo of Johnny Depp. You know that was taken by a professional photographer. All of the lighting, all of the values, everything about that photo is an artistic decision that was not made by the person that copies that photo. So if you do a charcoal drawing of a famous photo of Bill Murray, you really don't get creative, creative props for reproducing the work that somebody else did. So direct one-to-one, especially when you are doing it because you can't draw, like you trace out the plot points and then you just shade it in, that I generally don't think is very good practice, just in terms of becoming better at your craft. I think that's kind of a party trick. But using reference, I think, is important. And the big difference there is knowing what your reference is for and knowing how to use it without overly relying on it. One example of that, so, like, we use bird face here for an example.
Yep.
There are things about, especially if you're doing something organic, so you're doing an animal, there's things that you think that you know about what something looks like, and you are wrong. You're just wrong. Like, you can picture in your head an elephant. You are wrong about what it looks like. You just are. Like, you don't know. Even if you know absolutely. I myself have painted hawks and falcons. I've probably painted hundreds of them by now. I still use reference every time because my brain is lying to me. My brain is wrong. And that's just the way that this goes. So the difference that the angle of the pitch of the forehead, the way that feathers curl around the outside of the, where the eyes start to meet the side of the head, all of these things are the difference between a successful piece and an unsuccessful piece. You can tell when those things are in the right place and you can tell when they're not. So what reference is for is giving you the bone structure, or at least reminding your brain of the information that you think that you already know. So I look at a photo of a bear, not because I can't picture a bear, but because I know that I probably would get wrong the way that in a 3/4 angle, the way the bridge of the nose cuts across the eye. Like, okay, I know that it actually cuts across about 20% of the bottom half of the eye. I'm going to use that knowledge to paint. Not, I am going to look exactly at where every mark is and one-to-one copy it and transfer the photo and exactly put it. But having something to look at to understand your subject matter without even constantly one-to-one looking at it is weirdly critical and counterintuitive. So, like, if you're going to draw a person or a pose or anything, even if you know the things that you gather from having reference in your vicinity, and reminding your subconscious, kind of updating the information in your head as you go, is really beneficial just across the board for people that are doing anything based in reality. I mean, if you're doing something totally funky and goofy, totally off the wall, sometimes it doesn't matter. But even if you're going to make a little Sasquatch monster, why not look at a photo of
gorilla
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, you know, and what you see is like, oh, well, that's interesting, the way that the shoulder connects, you know, to the shoulder blade across this side. Oh, that's interesting. So it kind of falls this way. You know, you're not one-to-one copying the photo, but you're learning from the photo as you make a creative piece.
This is the most educated and profound way to describe the two differences. I mean, this is like...
Is that the answer you wanted? I
No,
don't know.
this is the greatest answer. It's not what I wanted, it's what we all deserved.
Wow.